Actually, this is our first ever sibling of a previous guest. This is
Wait,
actually
no, Shane, Catherine, and Aiden.
Mom, go away. I'm recording a podcast. Recording a podcast.
welcome back, everybody, to Verified. My name is Shane.
My name is Carlos.
Okay, so we did have Catherine on the show, and we had her brother Aiden on the show, and now recently we had Eli on the show for the first time, and now we have his brother Owen on the show. He's we're gonna talk about him. He's taking a gap year right now, but next year he's going to Grinnell College to go play soccer. It's gonna be a fun time. We're gonna talk about what it's like to be what it's like to train to be a college athlete, what that process was like, maybe what he's doing there during a gap year, all that fun stuff. Guys, please welcome to the show, Owen. How's it going, dude?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well. It's a
Pretty
good day.
man. It's a good day to take a gap year.
Good.
Couldn't agree more.
Quickly explain to us kind of what were your reasons? What made you kind of make the decision to take a gap year now?
Well, in all honesty, I really wanted to play soccer in the fall. And so my school was all like, we're not having fall athletics. And I was like, well, that sucks. Like, I don't really see a value in that. And I was like, all right, I'll go in person for a little bit, meet the coach, train a little bit. And they're like, oh, yeah, first years aren't allowed. Like, freshmen aren't allowed on campus. I was like, so we're just pretty much doing all online. I really didn't see a value in that. I was like, I'm not getting anything out of it. There's no point in going to school for a year online, not making any personal connections. I just like not for me. Also, like, the tuition fees aren't really changing for online. So in some aspects, you're paying more money to take online classes when you pretty much could be doing the same at like a Wake Tech, a community college. Yeah. Like working and taking those classes at home.
During this gap year, what have you been doing, or what are you planning on doing to occupy it?
As of now, I'm working at the YMCA as a scholastic supporter. So like all these kids taking online school, I'm kind of like a glorified teacher helping them with tech issues. But I did find this program while I will be traveling overseas and like studying Spanish, doing service, finding an internship, all this kind of stuff. That will also fill my time before, so I'm not like bored at home. So that's not what I want. I need to take some sort of value out of this gap year and do something with it, not just lounge around on the couch. I'm kind of realizing that like traveling and developing and growing in that way is very helpful. So I was just like doing that before college or something that like would help me a lot and transition to the college life a little bit better.
With the temptation of, I guess, maybe slacking off or like not really wanting to keep yourself busy, how have you been able to avoid that?
It's hard. I'm not going to deny. There's times I just want to sit around and do nothing all day because I have the opportunity to. It's all educational. Going to Costa Rica and I'm studying Spanish, like taking an internship, like there's work experience in that. And like now, like I'm working, so it's not like I'm sitting at home doing nothing. Like I'm going, to the YMCA, giving back to the community and just helping out. And it's hard, just gotta like reach out to people, allow them to help me so I can help them, keep myself occupied.
I feel like gap years in general, people just have like a negative feel towards them. Like, oh, these guys are just not really doing anything. But it's like they're taking it for good reasons and they're gonna try to make the most of it and not just sit around and play video games all day. So I think that's important for some people to hear.
Yeah, and one of the things that like I've been talking to people about too, especially my parents, is that like you don't have to go from A to B. Like most people think like you have to go to college right after high school. Yeah, it has to be a 4-year institution. You can't go to like community college for 2 years and transfer. Like speaking to like friends and family about that, it's like you can go from A to C back to B. You can go all these loop-de-loops, and it really doesn't matter because you're doing what's best for you.
Did you get any like negative feedback from people, or maybe like your parents were like kind of on the fence about doing this?
I had some pushback from some friends, just because they're like, why are you doing that? Like, it seems kind of not the brightest idea, not understanding, like my aspect, my point of view on it. It like there was some, but like once talking to them and realized, also part of me was just like, I really don't care what you think. Like I'm doing what's best for me. Like it kind of affects you, but this more affects me. And like, I need to do this for me. So it's a little selfish, but it's ultimately your decision.
It was probably the hardest part of making that decision of whether or not you wanted to take a gap year.
Well, it was hard because no one else that I knew was taking a gap year. So like talking to them, they're like, "Oh, you should go to this. You should really like stay at school and do this institution, and take online classes." And also understanding that like I'm going to be bored for a little bit because everyone's at school and I haven't left just yet. So it's just kind of hard trying to find some overlapping time.
I guess, what was your stance on like taking a gap year if you had one? Like the whole coronavirus thing, like would it have crossed your mind at all?
I mean, it's crossed my mind actually multiple times because I'm a younger senior. So like I turned 18 at the beginning of August. So like in all theory, like I could be a 2021 graduating high school then. So like it's definitely crossed my mind multiple times. Like I have this opportunity to do this. Ultimately, it's the right decision.
Going to play in college, like was that always on your mind? Was that always something you wanted to do?
It hasn't really been like a dream of mine, but like I aspire to be like I want to play soccer at the next level. I mean, I don't see myself playing past college because like it's something that brings joy to me. Like continuing to do it could be, good and all, but like once you get past, the collegiate level for me, it's just like, it just becomes more of a hassle. It seems more like a job than more like, an enjoyment kind of aspect to it. And so, I was just really lucky that I was able to find schools that wanted me, that, I wanted to go there and to be able to play in all honesty,
How are you planning on training during the gap year, I guess?
Yeah, it's challenging because you don't have the guidance of like a coach when you're taking a gap year just for like rules and stuff like that. So it's kind of challenging to like find, like there's no real guidance there. There's no real program. So you kind of have to make stuff up as you go along. I've been fortunate enough to be training with like a Wake FC team just because I know the coaches and I know practice times. They're like, yeah, you're welcome to train with us. But other than that, it's a lot of stuff on my own. It's a lot of fitness, a lot of, how can I lift weights? Is it body weight? Is it actual weights? How can I get touches on the ball by myself individually? So it's just kind of like, you don't have the guidance for the program with the coach. So just kind of like, I view it as like make stuff up. Like I watch a YouTube video and I'm like, all right, this looks like it could help me. Like how many times a day do I have to do this? If nothing's like happening, there's no change in results. All right, find something else to do. For me, it's like I'm going out with friends, playing pickup soccer, training a little bit. So I'm not like solely by myself and not realizing that I'm struggling, just solely. Like there's other people struggling as well. So we all are like have this team mentality. Training together.
Right. And are these are teammates that are going to Grinnell as well, or
no? My teammates going to Grinnell are from like Illinois, Washington, Hawaii.
Okay.
No,
so these are like club soccer.
Yeah, they're like high school teammates too.
Okay. What does the mental game of soccer look like for a high school athlete?
It all just depends on your coach as well, because sometimes you play very tactically, and then it's like, oh, there's a lot of like tactical stuff you need to play. And sometimes it's just like, all right, we're booting the ball really long. But the hardest part for me was staying locked in for 90 minutes and like making sure like I'm doing my job, I'm helping other people do their job. So it's just staying locked in and focused for the full 90 minutes. That was probably the most challenging part.
Moving forward, you had to worry about coaches watching you. So what was that like?
Yeah, I felt a lot of pressure for sure. Like who wouldn't?
Right, of course.
But ultimately, it just you needed to, you just needed to feel like you needed to find the joy in the game and play like, it sounds very cliche saying like play like no one's watching, but ultimately like that's what you needed to feel like.
When they say like showcase games, is that what those are? Like with the recruiters?
Yeah, so like the difference is like showcase games, there's no prize at the end. There's no like first place medal or trophy. Well, a tournament there is. So like showcase games, you just like coaches will probably come up more to those and for tournaments. But nowadays everything's a showcase.
Even with that's even with baseball. It's like they're everywhere. Dude, thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy and you want to help us out, you can follow us on all of your favorite podcast listening platforms. Really appreciate it. If you guys want to check us out on Instagram and get updates and different videos that we hopefully will start putting out there, follow us on Instagram at verify.talk. We can see you guys in next week for new episodes. Bye.
Mom, go away. I'm recording a podcast. Recording a podcast.
Hasta luego.